as I finished saying any day, anytime, my head, first thing, you are very stupid. What do you mean any day, anytime? That's when I now realized that I potentially called myself an ashawo. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of New Talk. How have you guys been doing? I noticed that we had new subscribers. So if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica Ene. The love on the last video was crazy. Like, I didn't know that you guys are going to watch the video, but I'm happy I was able to help somebody out there. Now, I promised in my first video, the first one, if you've not watched it, I'm going to link it somewhere here so that you go back and watch it, that I was going to gist you guys about my first job interview, which was a madness, like a madness. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. I moved from where I was in Abuja. I had to come back to Enugu. So I called my friend, right? And I'm like, okay, sis, please help me out. I'm looking for a job, because I knew she was working in a firm. I'm not going to say the exact firm, but she was working in one firm like that. So I called her, I'm like, oh, please, I'm looking for a job. Could you hook me up? And she's like, okay, fine, no problem. That where am I? I'm like, okay, I'm back in town. I just came back like day before yesterday or something. She's like, okay, fine, no problem. I'll call my boss and I'll get back to you. I'm like, okay, cool. So the next day, I called her to be sure that she didn't forget to talk to her boss, right? And she's like, oh yeah, she did talk to her boss, that he said I should come around and he'll probably employ me to be his girlfriend. I'm like, funny. She's like, he was just joking, that I should just come with a CV and come to the office the next morning. I'm like, CV? I don't got anything to write on my CV, but I'm gonna draft something. So I call my guy, I'm like, hey, G, they said I should bring CV. He said, just put anything now. I'm like, well, I don't have any professional experience, so what do I want to write in the CV? He said, just put anything. And the next morning, very early, dressed corporate, you know, with the intent that I'm gonna go and look for a job, right? So I walk down, I meet my girl and one of my other classmates. They were there in the office. They were about to start working, because it was around, let's say, 10:30-ish. So I get them, like, hi, how are you? We said hi, tell my highs and all the I've missed you highs, as to strike treating you. Okay, she's like, wait for me here, let me go and talk to my boss. So this is how we're going to classify it, right? There is boss 1 and there is boss 2. So now she was going to go and talk to boss 1, who was the main person that said I should come around. So she goes there, she finished talking to boss 1. She comes back into the office and she's like, okay, he wants to see you. I'm like, fine, no problem. By this time, my heart is already doing beam. I say, go, please, let me not go embarrass myself in this place. So I walk into the office. I'm like, hi, good morning, sir. I not say hi, I'm sorry. I said, good morning, sir. He now said, morning, how are you? Fine. My mom taught me, anywhere you are, as far as there's somebody there that is higher than you, don't sit, remain standing. He's like, come in, have a seat. I'm like, thank you. I'm feeling like, okay, check 1. So I sat down and he's like, hi, how are you? I said, fine, thank you. What's your name? I told him, where are you from? I told him, what school do you attend? I told him, you guys are on strike. Yes, sir. He said, okay, fine. He's like, he now asked me, okay, so what exactly are you looking for? So I told him I was looking for a job. So he now saw the envelope in my hand, because my CV was in a brown envelope. He's like, is that your CV? I'm like, yes. He's like, okay, let me see. I hand it over to him. He opened it. Let me just do practical example for you guys. It was just one paper. So he now looked at the paper like this. He turned it around. He's like, is this your CV? I said, yes, sir. He said, but this is not what a CV looks like. I said, I know, sir, but I've not had any professional working experience, so I really do not have anything to put down. So I just put down 1 or 2 things that I've done. He said, even as at that, this is not what a proper CV looks like. I said, I'm sorry, sir. I'll Google what a proper CV looks like and I'll revamp my CV. He's like, okay, no problem. So what do you say you're looking for? So I told him that I was looking for a paid job, because I've been very specific. I need money. So I don't just say I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a paid job. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a paid job. And they're like, that the firm is not hiring at the moment. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm like, is there anything at all? Like, even though it's PA or secretary, and they're like, no, they already have a secretary. I'm like, okay. He's like, you know what? Just wait for boss 2, that he's going to come around, and then you talk to him and maybe something will come up. I'm like, okay, sir, no problem. So he gives me back my CV. I'm like, thank you, sir. And I go to my friend's office and we sit down there. Boss 2 now walks in. She went inside, she spoke to boss 2, and he's like, okay, no problem, ask her to come in. And then I leave my bag with my friend, and then I go into boss 2 office. An elderly man, nice man, okay. So he's like, hey, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Don't forget, I still stood at the door. He's like, come in, come and sit down. I sat down. So he's like, how are you? Fine, sir. What's your name? I answer again. We were school. I tell him. He now said, okay, so what are you looking for? I told him, sir, I'm looking for a job. He said, okay, you're looking for a job. I'm like, sorry, sir, a paid job. He now said, job, oh, paid job, oh, that the firm is not hiring at the moment. I'm like, sir, nothing at all, not even a secretary or a personal assistant. He's like, no, that we already have a secretary. And, you know, our firm is still a very small firm, so we don't need too much hands. I'm like, okay, no problem, sir, no problem. He now said, okay, that if you're looking for a paid job, since we are not hiring currently, that I should just give him a little bit of time, let him call around and see if any of his friends are hiring, and then he will refer me to them. I'm like, okay, sir, thank you, no problem. So he now starts to call his friends, and he's like, oh, are you hiring? Are you hiring? Just one person now said, okay, that he will talk to his boss at the office to see if he was hiring, if they were still hiring. And then they will now call me to come in. He now asked me, do you go out? I now said, no, sir, I'm always inside because nothing really takes me out. He now said, why don't you go out? I don't know that you're supposed to go out, meet people, and, you know, associate with people and all these things. I'm like, sir, I'll go out. Then he now said, one of these days I should come and take you out. I'm like, sir, no. Then I now, oh God, just kind of. I now paused and I said, but excuse me, sir, if it involves money, of course, I'll go out any day, anytime. As I finish saying any day, anytime, my head, first thing, you're very stupid. What do you mean any day, anytime? That's when I now realized that I potentially called myself an ashawo. I'm like, Jesus Christ. At this point, I'm like, God, let the ground just open. Let me just enter inside and die, because I'm not doing it again. To now make it worse, he now asked me a simple question. What is ledger? These are days to teach first years. I didn't know the answer. I was staring at the ceiling. I don't know whether it's tension or I know that I'm not an olodo. But for some weird reason, I didn't even know the definition of a ledger. So at this point, I'm like, God, please, let this interview just end. I'm already tired. And I said, okay, now, you should go. If he calls back, that's the other man that was hiring. If he calls back, I will let you know. I said, no problem, sir. I picked myself. I stood up. I went to my friend. I told her, thank you. God bless you. I carry my bag. My legs are shaking. I was thinking, oh my God, Jessica, why did you say that? But at the same time, I'm like, I'm sure proud of you. You compose yourself very well, even after saying rubbish. So I got home. I just wanted to sleep. As I was sleeping, boss one now calls me. I take the call. I'm like, who is this? He's like, you came to the office today. You came to. I'm like, oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Good afternoon, sir. He now said afternoon. He said, I didn't see you as we were about to leave. That how far did the boss two, was he able to recommend anything? I'm like, yes, he called a few people. Okay, no problem. He now asked me, where do you stay? I told him, I'll call you in the evening so that you come out.
Oh my God.
I'm like, excuse me, sir. I'll not be around in the evening. I'm going out. He said, okay, that tomorrow after. I'm like, sir, I'll not be around tomorrow. So I don't know how my tomorrow will be. He now said, okay, come over. I said, sir, I cannot come over to the office because I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the morning. And he's like, okay, I'll call you back. I said, okay, no problem. Thank you, sir. I cut the call. The next morning, I wake up and I see, come over to the office. There's work available. I'm like, there was no work available around 1:30 to 2. So what sort of magic did you guys do that there's work available first thing in the morning? I call my friend. It was looking all fishy. I call my friend. I'm like, girl, boss one just texted me that there is work available. How far? And she's like, she didn't know. I'm like, please, could you help me talk to him and know what's up? In my head, I didn't want to go there and it's not work I'm discussing. I'd rather just stay in my house. She called back. She's like, oh, come over. I think there's job available. It's POS job. So she was trying to now convince me that I should come in for the POS work. So I'm like, okay, I will call you back. Give me a while. Then the next day, around 8:14, I wake up to violence. I'm going to read it and I'll put it somewhere here so that you guys can read it too and see for yourself. And I see, so you couldn't even reply to the message you received. All you did was to call your friend at first to ask if there was truly a job, because in your small brain you thought you were called to come to an accounting firm to probably discuss your marriage plan. In this day and age, that's how you clown things. You're a very unserious human being. Hope you don't end up like this APC administration.
Jesus Lord!
I read it twice. So to be sure that I can still read English, I didn't know what to do. I just typed, thank you, sir, and I sent it to him. Then I'm just there. I'm angry because I don't deserve this. Around after 10, after I sent the thank you, sir, he now texted back. He's like, sorry I said all this to you. Wasn't happy you didn't reply the message. I'm sorry. I know, same thing. So that's how everything with those people, aside my friend, ended that day. That was all. Boss two, I didn't talk to him. I didn't talk to the other man. If you had any crazy interview experiences, please tell us down in the comment section, because I actually want to laugh. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, was I tripping? Do you think I should have gone for the interview? Gone to the office rather, the next day to just go and see by myself? And if it were you woke up around 8:38, if I'm not wrong, guess, and you just see violence on your phone in the form of text message, what would you have done? Would you have texted him back, or would you have taken my own approach of thank you, sir, and just let it slide? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I love you guys.